welcome everybody back to Wrestling Travel Presents the Lockdown Sessions. And today we are joined by the lovely Eliza Haze. Eliza, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm up here in the state of Wisconsin. Are you in Florida? Is that accurate?
I am. It's beautiful, sunny Florida today. Much different than yesterday.
Oh, yesterday, what was it, rainy?
Yesterday, it was still sunny out. The sun was still shining, but it was thunder, hail, and pouring down rain at the same time.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome to spring in Florida. Now, are you a Florida native?
No.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
I built from up in Woodstock, New York.
Oh, okay. So you made the...
Man.
Fantastic. So we're doing the lockdown sessions based on it's like almost 6 weeks ago, if not more, probably more, that you helped us out with the Mania crawl for WrestleMania 36. And you helped us. I don't know if you've kept track, but we've raised over $3,300.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we want to thank you for helping us out, and we want to get you out there and let everybody know a little bit about Eliza Haze. So Eliza, how long have you been in the wrestling business?
I started training back in fall of 2017 at Go Wrestle with Kyle Blizzard, and I made my semi-formal ring debut. I was a ref for a while.
Okay.
The way that school works is you start out reffing while you're learning so that you get some time in the ring, you get to see everybody working up close and get used to working with people. So I reffed for a while throughout 2018, and then I made my full debut in December of 2018.
Fantastic. What if you had to go back to reffing, what's more difficult, refereeing a match or being in a match?
I'll still throw on the stripes every so often, so I haven't been out of reffing completely. It depends on the match.
Okay.
We have had some crazy matches. Most of my reffing has been at Go Wrestle. Some of it's been out knockout wrestling, but at Go Wrestle, we've had up to, I think, 10-man matches.
Oh, wow.
And ladder matches and things like that, and it gets insane trying to keep track of everybody and try to keep some sort of order in the ring. It's almost impossible. So in that respect, it's kind of hard. But when you're actually wrestling, you take the hits and you get beat up, and that gets kind of tough, but fun.
Right. I think the most nervous I've ever been during a show was when they've asked me, I'm on the way out, but can you ring announce for our show and also run the music? Holy shit.
Oh, man.
Figuring out who's who, trying to do everything, and then you let the music go too long. And, I mean, I love helping out, but it's like, man, you can kind of do the one and done thing when you're wrestling, but the ring announcing and running the music for all intents and purposes was tough for me. So you made your debut in 2018. How many matches do you have under your belt so far, roughly?
You know what? I tried keeping track when I first started out, and then I just got lost on it. So it's been quite a few. Go Wrestle actually runs weekly, so that's why it's been a little hard to keep track, because I was working pretty much every week.
That's good. The more you can get under your belt all the time, I know makes a big difference. Now, when you're a young Eliza Haze, what or who catches your eye on the television screen that makes you go, pro wrestling, I love it?
My grandmother actually got me into wrestling initially. She had the biggest crush on The Undertaker. Like,
really?
big Undertaker. Oh, yeah. And she would always watch, and she would get so mad when anybody hit him. And it was just adorable. And, like, I just started watching it with her, and I got into it. And then after she passed, I kind of fell out of it for a while. got back into it in college when I was broke and couldn't afford to go out and do anything. So my boyfriend at the time and we would sit at home and we would just watch wrestling, and we'd sit there and we'd try to figure out where the storylines were going and what was going to happen that night. And we were always wrong, but it was always fun to try and
Yeah, no, that's great. That's the thing. I love thinking about it back in the day when we used to just be happy to have wrestling. You would kind of guess the storyline, but my back in the day is a lot earlier than yours, but it was nice when it was just like, hey, this guy is facing this guy at WrestleMania, and we didn't have a keyboard to complain about it. We're like, all right, cool, let's watch it, see what happens. That was the fun part. So what would you say when you kind of got back into it in college? What was who were you kind of drawn to?
There was still a lot of diva stuff going on, so the women's wrestling didn't catch me too much. Trish Stratus was always impressive, though. I always loved watching her and Lita because they still had to play the whole diva aspect, but you could tell that they knew what they were doing in there. Mickie James also, when she came onto the scene, same thing. You could tell that they had a passion for it. But most of the actual wrestling going on at the time was the guys. So I always loved watching Rey Mysterio because I'm not a tall person. So it was cool watching, Rey Mysterio bouncing back and forth and always in the air, and just the athleticism of it was just amazing to me. And The Undertaker. I always have a soft spot for The Undertaker.
Right, and now they're doing the series on him on WWE. I got a chance last week to talk to the Blossom Twins, and we talked kind of the same about when WWE had the diva stuff kind of going, and when they were on TNA, TNA Impact Wrestling currently, for a while there, TNA, I was saying to them, their women's wrestling was impressive. Because they took it they were still called the knockouts, but man, were those matches very athletic, and dare I say, some of those matches I enjoyed better than the guys, because I thought, man, I'm not, how do I say it? I got to say this correctly because I am talking to a female. I am not one of those, I pick one side or the other, as any guy may enjoy the sexier part of wrestling, because I believe wrestling appeals to everybody. But I sure would have taken those matches that were athletically with the women over the bra and panties at that time, which is, and we're talking like not that long ago that we had this women's revolution. So I'm going to take it that you're somebody that isn't, what you have is in the ring, and I love just athletic wrestling. I don't know where I'm going with this question. I guess it's more of a statement that it was just nice to see and talk about women's athletic wrestling versus, hey, I'm a pinup model and I go into the ring. I do appreciate the fact that we got people that will go in there and mix it up and tell storylines.
Well, and that's the thing too, is a lot of female wrestlers, you will see both sides of it. You will see the modeling side of it, and you will see the athletic part of it. There are a lot of female wrestlers on the scene right now, especially in the independent circuit, who do both sides of it. So I don't want to discredit, anybody who focuses like on the modeling and that kind of aspect of it, because I've done a little bit of it, but being a curvy person, I'm not your typical like Victoria's Secret model or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to be in any magazines anytime soon, but that can be just as empowering sometimes as the athletic part of it. The athletic part of it and being able to go in there and just outright kick somebody's ass, that, that power is intoxicating. It's empowering, but being able to appreciate your body for what you have and being comfortable with showing that to other people, that can be empowering as well. So I don't want to discredit anybody who has a focus on that, because it is legitimate. I mean, but as far as the wrestling part of it goes, like, I definitely prefer the athleticism part of it in the ring.
Right, and I'm not trying to discredit either, because I'll say it right out. I do appreciate, um, the modeling side of it as well. But when I go to an independent show and I can appreciate somebody like, wow, she looks really great, she's stunning, great body, and then they get her in the ring and it is rough. I'm like, man, I would rather watch. I appreciate it, but it's like, man, you get the people that can do both. That's great. I have been watching a little bit of. Somebody turned me onto it. My new colleague Brittany Nicole, that one of the channels was having the old Glow episodes on, like not the Netflix series, but the actual thing. And man, I wish I would have been able to watch that as a kid, just for reasons of it was kind of cartoonish, but it was entertaining. You go back and watch that, man, is that really really entertaining. Have you gotten a chance to watch any of the older Glow or the Netflix series or anything like that? Or
I watched the Netflix series. I liked the first season better than the second season, because the second season was all about the drama and everything.
yeah,
I haven't gotten to watch any of the actual old Glow stuff yet. I've tried looking for it, but I haven't had much luck finding it.
I will have to email you and ask Brittany where it was on one of these free downloadable apps or something, and she was telling me she's watching the old Glow. So I will get that to you.
It's
Have you mixed it up, intergender as well as wrestling women down there?
I have. I've actually done quite a bit of intergender stuff. Mostly at my school's promotion, Go Wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Power Weight tournament a couple of months back, and I made it into the third round before my trainer decimated me and took me out. But if you look him up, you'll see why immediately. I have some pictures of the match on my Facebook. He's a beast. He's like 6-some feet tall and threw me around like a rag doll.
Wow. What is his name? So in case we want to look it up if we're watching this.
Kyle Blizzard.
Kyle. Okay, you said that Kyle Blizzard earlier.
Yeah. But it was definitely an interesting experience getting to go head to head with my trainer and seeing that I could hold my own for at least most of it.
Now, have you gotten to wrestle outside of Florida, back in New York, or where have your wrestling travels taken you? Wrestling travels, you see what I did there?
Not very far yet. Only the farthest I've gone out of state is just southern Georgia. I did one show at Sunbelt a couple of months back, and I forget when that was. But yeah, I did that one with my big rival. I went up against my main rival right now is Embra Cato.
Okay.
She and I have some history. So we faced each other up there. And yeah, I think that's the only out-of-state one I've done. I have done some custom work out of state for different customs companies. MLOW was the one that I did before up in Tennessee.
Up in Tennessee, great. Well, hopefully, when we're on the other side of this pandemic, we're getting to see Eliza Haze travel a little bit. What is now we're at May 22nd, 2020 here, so I just want to date that in case anybody's watching it. What is the state of Florida? Where are they at with? Is there any shows lined up down the road, or where are we at in Florida?
I know some shows are starting to put dates together. I know Knockout Wrestling should be announcing their dates soon. They're one of the promotions I work for. Go Wrestle has actually been running bi-weekly. At first, it was no audience It was just taping, because they do a subscription-based programming online and live shows. So record the live shows, put them up on the website. If you have the subscription, you can watch pretty much the entire history of the promotion. Every video is up there, with I think one small gap in the 40s. But they've been running bi-weekly. They started having an audience again once it was permitted, and they're doing like the whole social distancing thing. So they are running again next Saturday, actually.
Next Saturday. So are they, when you say social distancing, and pardon me, this is a show about just actual conversation, are they letting like 25% of the normal fans in? Is that kind of how they're doing it and spacing them out?
Yeah, I think it's a smaller crowd, and I think they're trying to encourage people to spread out, you know, besides like their group when they come in. Not everybody follows it, I guess. I actually haven't been there yet because I have somebody in my family who's at risk. So I've been staying out of the ring for a bit, and it's absolutely killing me. But I have to put my family first. But you better believe as soon as I can go back out there, I'm going to be like there before the doors open, like in all my gear.
All right,
Yeah, they have been bi-weekly to encourage the social distancing, but you can only make people do so much. You know, people have to be smart, and they have to make the decision for themselves to be safe.
100%. Yeah, my next question was gonna be, have you wrestled without a live crowd yet? And I can't imagine how tough that is. Watching stuff on the WWE Network like WrestleMania, I say it all the time, but for Kevin Owens to do that dive off the sign without the adrenaline of a live crowd there, we've really seen how important the fan is to pro wrestling. And I believe when we come out and you are able to do those shows, not only are you, Eliza, going to be given 120%, but those fans are really going to be giving it. Did you get a chance to watch WrestleMania Money in the Bank, the last couple pay-per-views?
I did not. I actually don't have cable, and when I moved a couple of months back, I ended up dropping my WWE network, so I've seen like bits and pieces of things, but I haven't seen all of it yet, and I'm really bummed.
I know we need to get a GoFundMe now to get the network back for everybody. What I was going to ask is, I don't know if you saw any clips, but AJ Styles and your guy, The Undertaker, did something called the Boneyard Match, which was a cinematography experience. I still haven't figured out if it's cinematographical, what the actual word is, but did you get a chance to see any clips on that? And what are your thoughts?
I did see some highlights. I have Hulu, so I'm trying to keep up with Raw and SmackDown when I can. I'm a week or two behind right now, but I did see the highlights from that match, and I really can't wait to see the whole thing when I finally get a chance to.
Right, I really wanted not to like it because I'm old school and traditional, and then something hit me. We're in a global pandemic. We've never been here before with the amount of entertainment that we have, that I'm like, I wanted to rip on it, but they're doing the best they can with what they have. And that is keeping somebody like The Undertaker still being able to go, because you're able to shoot that match, stop it, refilm it. And everybody wants to rip on everything pro wrestling. But I found that entertaining. I won't give away the Money in the Bank for you, but I wanted to not like that one. And it's like, I have to put myself in this whole different mindset.
I did hear the results and everything from Money in the Bank. And I did see the exchange between Becky and Asuka on Raw afterwards. So,
what are your thoughts on that? Like this, I usually try not to get controversial, but we'll get kind of controversial. I'm a big Jim Cornette guy. But I know Jim Cornette can go on some tangents, but there's little controversy in the way he talked about her giving up that spot to have a baby. And I'm going, man, you can't really, that's her decision. But he really kind of went on a rant on her. What's your feelings on that?
I haven't heard the rant for myself.
Okay.
So I can only give an opinion based on what I've heard of it. And it Becky Lynch has held that title longer than any other woman so far. She has the record. It's over 300 some days. I think it's over a year now. And it's one of those things where it's a deeply personal decision, and I know that she didn't come to it lightly. But she, I guess, was just at a point in her life where she decided that she wanted this certain future for herself. She wanted this family. So it was time to do that. And for her, the time was right for that. So I fully support her decision to step away. I'm disappointed because I think she's an amazing athlete and I love her work in the ring and her work on the mic. But it's something that I know had to have been hard for her. And watching her leave the ring after she made the announcement, you can just see it in her face. You know that it's at the same time killing her, and at the same time she's got this hope for her future. And she can always come back to it. She's at an age where, you know, after she has some time, she can come back. So I think right now was probably a good time for her to do that if she was going to. I think that everybody's got their own opinion on that. Obviously, Jim Cornette has a very strong opinion, but I don't think you can really fault her for doing what she thought was right for her.
Right. She's essentially choosing family over money. And guess what? Even if she doesn't come back right away while while her and Seth are taking care of their child, just getting Becky Lynch to show up on Raw and she can cut a good promo.
Oh,
She can
yeah.
put over, we're going to see her. And, starting your family is a pretty huge deal. So, like, I agree with you. It's only disappointing for us because we want to watch her. So, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we want her happy too. So,
And
speaking of, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there is so much talent in that women's roster on both Raw and SmackDown and NXT, that she'll be missed, but they have the talent to kind of fill that vacancy.
Right, a lot of talented women just step right up, and like I said, going back to the TNA, now the WWE has those great women's matches now, and everybody is beautiful as well. So we got the best of both worlds. Speaking of women's wrestlers, this question can be a million answers, but if I had to narrow it down to a handful of your bucket list, like, hey, I'd like to step in the ring with certain people. It can be a name, it can be local. You got a list of a few names that you'd love to step in the ring with?
Oh,
before
yeah.
it's all said and done?
Well, from the television side of it, from like WWE and everything, Asuka would be a big one. I would love to face Asuka. She's a big influence on my style. Becky, obviously. Mickie James. I've done a lot of tape studying of her actually during the lockdown here, and just watching her through the years from TNA like on up, just watching like different points in her career, and it's just amazing to see like the growth and just the energy that she has out in the ring. Who else? Let's see.
It's hard when you're on the spot.
Yeah. From my old school days, probably Trish or Lita. I would love to have one of them kick my butt. And local talent, I mean, there's a lot of people in Florida, a lot of women that I have yet to face. And I know that there's new women coming onto the scene every day. And I guess not anyone in particular, but I would just like to just go out and face as many people as I can, you know?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like I said, I like to be in this position where I can ask the questions and not answer them. Because it is tough, because you risk leaving somebody off after when you get put on the spot and you're like, oh, I'm this guy, and then everything's over and somebody calls you out of the blue and you're like, shit. Yes.
There's a Facebook question like that right now. A couple people on my timeline actually posted up 10 wrestlers who have personally influenced you and had an effect on your career. And I thought about, doing that, but I was like, there's so many people here in Florida who have had an impact on my career that I don't think there's enough spots there to name because it says list 10. And then it's like, well, you can't leave anybody off because everybody's had such an impact. Everybody you face, everybody who gives you that little bit of helpful critique in the locker room after your matches, it all helps to make you so much better.
Right, and on that note, I did suggest that maybe 3 weeks ago to my colleague Joe that maybe we should jump on that type of bandwagon and start a 10 wrestler type thing, kind of like the 10 albums. So Joe, glad we jumped on that, and now somebody else has. But yeah, I'm the same way with 10 albums that influenced you, and I had to stop at 5 because I'm like, there's not 10. I'm such a, and it's cliche, but if I asked you, what's your favorite type of music, there's a really good chance you're going to say, I listen to a little bit of everything, and it makes me who I am. So, and that's how I felt about the wrestling thing, is I couldn't list it. So I always go on my favorite wrestlers list. I always have to get him in when I can. Greg Gagne from the American Wrestling Association, AWA. I'm hoping to get him on this show one day. I'll actually have good questions for him. But how do I keep track of Eliza Haze? A lot of our fans are from the UK, but around the world, they've watched this lovely interview with both of us, and now they're like, "Hey, I wanna get a chance to follow Eliza Haze. She seems cool. What are some of your socials?" And we'll get them printed out on the bottom here.
I have Facebook under Eliza Haze. I have just my regular page on there, and I do also have a fan page on there. I have Instagram, eliza.haze, and those are my two main ones. I do have a Twitter, 900.eliza. I'm still getting used to Twitter. I try to remember to post on there when I can. But I'm getting there. More people start following me, I'll post more. I also have a YouTube where I put up some of my matches.
Oh, great.
And you can find that under Eliza Haze Wrestling. Where else? Oh, GoWrestle.com. You can see all of my matches from there so far. All on there. It's $5.99 for the monthly subscription, but you get a 10-day free trial to check it out. So, yeah, if you need your wrestling fix, like really bad right now, that's a great place to go because there are 156 shows up there right now. So definitely a lot for you to watch.
Oh, fantastic. No, I was going to ask you about that. That's great. How about, does Eliza Haze have any merch right now? And
I have a t-shirt site. I have prowrestlingtees.com/Eliza Haze. I have 4 shirt designs up there right now. I'm thinking about changing it up a little bit, so check out the designs while you can before I start sprucing them up. And I do sell 8x10s. You could just private message me that if you're interested in that.
All right. And I assume that you would sign the 8x10 if we ordered one.
Of course.
Absolutely. All right. Last question here, and then we'll let you get on with your day. if just we're a little behind the scenes, Eliza and I have had a lot of technical difficulties getting this set up because I'm so technologically advanced. But what have you been doing wrestling wise now? If you haven't been able to do the Go Wrestling and you've got a family member you were, what has Eliza Haze been doing to kind of keep in that wrestling mindset and in shape and in the zone? What have you, because it's been a few weeks, obviously.
I can show you real quick.
All right.
Actually, my little home gym here.
There it is.
Doesn't look like much, but I've been working out every other day and switching between upper body and lower body. The rain kind of ruined my plans yesterday, so I'm hoping to just do total body today and then sleep all weekend. No. But yeah, I've been trying to work out as much as possible. I've been gaining a little bit of muscle. There's a little thing there. I mean, it's getting there. Tape studies, watching some of my stuff so that I can see a lot of the areas I need to improve on when I get back in the ring. Promos. I've been trying to enter into some promo contests. If you keep an eye on my Facebook, I should be joining up with one here coming in June. So give me lots of votes. Give me more chances to practice my promos. And let's see, what else? Tape studying other wrestlers. Like I said, I did a lot of tape studying of Mickie James.
Mhm.
And I've been doing some tape studies of Asuka's work, both as a heel and as a face, because she's just an entertainment force on her own. She doesn't need a crowd. She's just entertaining herself when she's in the ring. It's great. But she's definitely someone to look to right now for how to project that character and be confident in your character and in expressing yourself in the ring, even if there's nobody there to cheer you on and to get you pumped up. Because like you were saying earlier, that crowd, that having the fans there, we feed off of that in the ring. And the energy that the crowd gives us encourages us to give back that much more. And when you don't have that crowd there, it can feel kind of like running through the motions almost. So watching someone like Asuka right now, how she still puts that 110% in, and there's still a crowd there. It might be here, but they're still out there, and she can still hear them cheering, and she still feeds off of it just the same. So pretty much that. Promos, working out, watching wrestling so I don't entirely lose my sanity. Every so often I'll find a spot on the wall and I'll practice kicks or something, just to get that contact. I just want to hit something, you know? Oh, and tie-dye.
And tie-dye. Oh, there we go.
Yes, I actually have a whole album, and I have a couple more pieces to add on, but I've gone a little tie-dye nuts during the break here. Let's see if you can see this one a little better. Get a peace sign.
There we go.
So I did some crazy stuff. I did aliens and galaxies and hearts, and I did a flower the other day. Somebody requested that I do a sunflower, but I did it on the back of the shirt, not the front. So now I just got to, I'll merchandise the front, you know? I'll put my peace, love, and flower power on the front, my little catchphrase, and it'll be all good.
So is that something as a fan I can order, a custom tie-dyed shirt from Eliza Haze? Because that's a great idea.
I am actually thinking about it. I'm just doing a boring cost analysis to figure out how much I would have to spend and how much I would have to charge. But I definitely want to look into doing that because I've had a lot of requests for it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Even if you did like a custom tie-dye Eliza Haze bandana or something, a headband or all kinds. I know fans would eat it up. So I want to thank you for spending time with us today. And we will look forward to seeing you out on the road very soon. We can't wait. And in the meantime, we'll catch up on your socials. And thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.